Hey, thank y'all for joining me at Live 95.5 WRJM with Sandy Siebert earlier tonight. I got there late. It's been raining all week. My hair is still in rain mode. But I wanted to finish up talking about Jussie Smollett, the poor kid that got arrested this morning. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about his chart. I was studying it this afternoon, and he had a lot of points in it that really showed why things went down the way they did today. Here's his chart. And so you can look a chart like this just about anywhere online. But this is from astrology.by.love. I don't know if I said that right. But what I'm mainly going to be talking about is the yod that is in his chart. So a yod is also considered the finger of God, and it is a point of destiny in a person's chart. So it is right here. You see the green lines going up, the blue line going over, and then the green line coming down to the point of Venus and Chiron, and then Neptune, and then also Jupiter and Pluto are involved. And so that's going to be the main thing I talk about today, just because with everything that went down. If you haven't been keeping up in the news, January 29th, Jussie called the police. He went into the police station and said that he had gotten attacked by two Caucasian men who were wearing MAGA hats and using racial slurs and homophobic slurs. And, you know, of course, this is horrifying. Like, nobody in this day and age is okay with that. And so, of course, the Chicago police were not okay with that either. And they went after him, and they looked at the video that he told them to look at and didn't see, these two guys. And so they looked at surrounding videos and eventually saw two guys who, they were Nigerian nationals. And when they boarded a plane trying to leave the country, the police arrested them and questioned them. And the men admitted to being paid by Jussie Smollett. And he wrote them a check, poor thing. So, there's a paper trail. And they said that Jussie had hired them to stage this whole episode. Jussie was arrested this morning, and he said that the reason it had happened, today's February 21st, the reason it had happened, he said, is because he was wanting to make more money. And so he is on a TV show called Empire, and he felt like if he could cause a scene, he could bring more attention to himself and the show, and, that's good thinking. I hate that he went about it the way that he did, but he was arrested this morning. So, anyways, I was looking at his chart this afternoon, and my friend Sandy Siebert had asked if I wanted to be, on the radio station, WRJM, and I agreed. It's raining. I got there late, and so I didn't really get to cover everything I was wanting to talk about, so I'm making this video now. So I hope you find it helpful and interesting. So astrology is definitely a tool that you can use, or anybody can use, to kind of see different parts of our lives and know about different energies that are coming and going and what to work with. So, like I said, one of the things, the main things I want to talk about is the yod. So, it's an isosceles triangle, and it is made up of a sextile, which is 60 degrees, and that is the Neptune and the Pluto-Jupiter contact. The Pluto and Jupiter are conjunct. That's when two planets are close enough that their energies are shared. And then it points to a Venus-Chiron conjunction. So, the first thing I wanted to talk about was the Chiron-Venus conjunction. Venus, as you can imagine, is the planet of love, but it is also the planet of luxuries, the planet of, fine foods, the planet of niceties. A lot of times it has to do with our money as well. And so Chiron is known as the wounded warrior, and that shows us where we have pretty deep struggles in life. It's like I said, it's known as the wounded warrior. It's where our insecurities lie. It's that part of us that we kind of cringe whenever the subject comes up, and it's conjunct his Venus. That's a hard placement, and that is at the point of the yod. So he has got insecurities surrounding, honestly, his value, his worth, his luxuries. It's a struggle there, and it's important. A yod, the finger of God, a lot of times it talks about a destiny. People who have yods a lot of times make their name in history somehow. They change the course of events one way or the other. In doing research on this, I came across an article that was saying of the over 100 Nazi soldiers that they had looked at the charts. 6 of them had yods in their charts, and those 6 were in pretty high positions and had changed the face of the war. And so, when you have a yod, more people than your fair share remember your moment in history, and Jussie is definitely going to be remembered. Another thing I wanted to talk about, and I also wanted to talk about his Neptune. So Neptune in a chart, most actors have a heavily aspected Neptune. And when a planet is aspected, that means there's a lot of contacts there. So when we pull this chart back, you can see all the lines going off of Neptune. This is his Neptune. Those are all different energies that are interacting with Neptune and making a difference in his life, and obviously also the lives of the community right now. So Neptune's a planet of fantasy. It's a planet of illusion, confusion, inspiration, spirituality, dreams, and psychic receptivity. When it is negatively aspected, it can also make one a potential addict. Now, honestly, I had not heard of Jussie Smollett until this past week. So I do not know of any addiction in his life, but he's in a pretty bad state right now. So so Neptune's also one of the more activated planets in his chart. So I also wanted to talk about, in his chart, there is a Sun-Moon conjunction that is opposite Neptune. And the Sun-Moon conjunction is interesting. Your sun is your energy, the energy in the physical body, that inside part, who you really are. And the moon is your emotions. It's your intuition. It's how you handle your emotions. It's your emotional energy. So his sun and moon are conjunct. They're only 4 degrees away. His sun is on the cusp of Cancer and Gemini. Gemini is a air sign. It's also a mutable sign. So mutable signs have energy that, as it sounds, can easily move about. They can adjust to changes. They can go with the flow. They can handle sort of chaotic situations better than most people. And Gemini is also an air sign. And so air signs have to do with intellectuality. Those people that need mental stimulation. They can't just, sit back and laugh or just be all in their feelings. They gotta think about stuff. And so his sun is on the cusp of Gemini and Cancer. Cancer is a cardinal sign. Those are the people that get up and go. They start things. They might not finish very well, but they start things. And Cancer is also a water sign, which is very emotional. So he's already got a tug of war going on inside of him between the Cancer cardinal sign, the water sign, and the Gemini mutable air sign. So that is his sun. That's his personality. That's his physical energy. And it is conjunct with the moon. That is squarely in Cancer. And so that is how he handles his emotions. Cancer is a very emotional sign. So he's got both his physical energy and his emotional energy in line. And that produces a very charismatic person. That is somebody who can be very passionate, charismatic, And that's because their emotional and physical energies are in the same place, go in the same direction. That's great for an actor. You want them to be passionate. He's also born right after a new moon. And so had he been born right before the new moon, he would just be naturally very self-aware. But that new moon starts, and it's the beginning. And his natural tendency is to not be very self-aware, which, of course, you can see that because it takes a passionate person to try and pull off the stunt that he did. And it's unfortunate for him that he lacks that self-awareness. I know I've been at those places in my life before, and hindsight's not pretty, and he's sitting in jail right now with that hindsight, wishing he was more self-aware. And so this sun-moon conjunction is opposite Neptune, and that can cause sensitivity. We've already talked about Neptune being a planet of illusion and really disillusionment as well. And, his Neptune also has hard aspects, which can cause lies, deceit, and scandal, which is what went down today. It's also a way when your Neptune has hard aspects, like his does to Venus and Chiron, you can also indirectly try to accomplish your goals. It kind of takes away the directness of it. So Neptune can cause lies, deceit, scandal, as well as drug abuse, and wrapped up with the passion and the natural, lack of self-awareness. That's kind of what we saw play out today. Also in the Yod, his Pluto and Jupiter are conjunct. This is really a pretty fantastic placement for both of them. Pluto is the planet of obsession, of going after what you want, being straight, being direct. And Jupiter is the planet of abundance. And so he is pretty focused and pretty obsessed with making it big and wanting to do big things, which, naturally most actors are. So that's good for him. And it is also, like I said, in a sextile to Neptune. And so that's the planet of acting and illusion. If you're going to pretend to be somebody else for money, you better have a lot of Neptune going on in your chart. And Pluto and Jupiter with that sextile, that's an excellent, excellent placement for acting. So he is definitely in his calling and doing what he is gifted to do. And Jupiter, one more thing about Jupiter, it often influences what you do for work and what you will be profitable in. And I think by anybody's standards, he's, a successful actor. And also, so being across from the sun and moon, that's also a natural choice for him. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit, the energy that we see in a natal chart. Some people were asking me earlier today, like, what does all this mean? So each planet, like when we are born, carries a certain energy, and they're at certain places in the sky and certain signs. So when we are born, our head peeks out, and all that energy is infused in that moment, and that kind of creates a personality and dictates our destiny a little bit. It's really important to have your natal chart read by a professional like myself who can kind of give you a heads up of what's going on and, where you're going in life and kind of direct you and help you out. So in this, and I wanted also to point out, this chart is for the day he was born. I don't have the time he was born. And so because I don't have the time he was born, I can't say which houses are affected by the different planets. I could go into a lot more detail if I knew what time, and that's probably going to come out in the next couple of days with all the media that's going on. But anyway, so you've got these planets that have created an energy in your life, and then as the planets continue moving through the sky, that energy is also moving, and it makes contacts with the planets in your natal chart. And that creates moments in your life, impulses, cosmic events. And something to think about, the sun has been in the sign of Aquarius for the past month. It moved into Pisces today. And in the past week, the sun has caused a square or a 90-degree angle to his Venus and Chiron conjunction. And a square it's a stressful energy that can't move. It's like when you feel like you have to do something, even if it's not smart, you feel like you have to do it. And a lot of times a square is hitting somewhere in the sky, hitting one of your planets, and causing some impulsiveness and not thinking. And, when you combine that with the fact that, he already had Pluto and Jupiter and Neptune and Chiron all working together, he had that going on anyways. And so, he's, from the events of the past week, he has gained fame and notoriety, and this makes his Jupiter and Pluto combination happy. It's unfortunately been through lies and fantasy, but that's also something that Neptune brings to the table. And the stressful negative energy of the square to Venus and Chiron has definitely brought him a lot of pain. And this was kind of destined in his chart. Maybe not destined to play out this exact way, but the energies were there, and something like this was going to happen in his life. And he was going to change the course of history a little bit, alter it because of it. I hate it for him, but hopefully, as a society and as a culture, we can make something good out of this. He, unfortunately, that Venus-Chiron conjunction, it's hard to make money in jail. And Chiron brings pain, and it's associated with Venus, which is his money. And, I will do a follow-up reading on this and kind of tell you, I've got a trip coming up to Bulgaria in June where I'll be learning about predictive astrology. And after that, I'll come back and tell you a little bit about what this fine young man can expect. Like I said, I don't know his houses, but your first house is the house of your body and how the world sees you. That's important to your health. The sixth house is also about your body and your daily routines and your health life. And of course, I was going to be talking about this on Path Changers tonight on the radio, because that is part of Sandy's show, Path Changers, Habits of Health. And then the 12th house is the house of your subconscious and your unconscious. And I kind of suspect that he's got a couple of planets in the 12th house. The 12th house is the place that's not seen. A lot of times, if you've got a lot of planets in the 12th house, you do spend a little bit of time in some type of institution, whether it's a mental facility, whether it's prison, whether it's a church, monastery, something like that, but you are behind closed doors or involved with something of that nature for several years of your life. And so, especially if you have Mars in the 12th house. So anyways, natal astrology charts are tools that allow us to be more self-aware and allow us to see the difficult energies, be able to understand it more, and kind of plan and, decide what we're wanting to do in the future when we come across this, which is important. So, and typically in the chart, there's also placements there that show outlets for difficult energies. And of course, when we work with energies instead of against it, we can have an easier time in our life. It's really important to kind of get with, your favorite astrologer, me, and talk about this and find out. So please check out my Facebook page, Astrology by Love, or text me if you want a reading. That number is 256-580-6225, and we can go from there. So this is Mindy with Astrology by Love. Thanks for hanging out today and learning about Jussie. Have a great evening.